Okay, this is the question I get all the time when people learn about the doshas. What do? I relate to two, or maybe even three. So, this YouTube video is going to be all about what to do if you can relate to more than one dosha. So if you haven't taken my quiz on eatfeelfresh.com, I have a mind-body type quiz. A mind-body type is called a dosha in Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the world's oldest health system. I am the author of The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda, which is going to be available in bookstores everywhere this August. So it's basically about eating the right foods and practicing the right lifestyle techniques for your specific physiology. So take the quiz. There are 3 mind-body types. I discuss those in other videos, so check those out. So if you've taken the quiz and you kind of are like, well, I'm a Vata Kapha or I'm a Pitta Vata or whatever else, and you're not sure what to do, I'm going to explain it right now. So a problem that I had when I first started learning about Ayurveda was I related to one dosha in my body and another in my mind. Also, I've related to one at an earlier part of my life and another one now. So I was really confused about what suggestions to follow. So for me, I was born very kapha. I always was like overweight as a kid, just chubbier. My face is very round. I have a very round kapha face, thick hair, a lot of kapha features. But at the same time, whenever I took a quiz, it was like 100% Vata, like just the moving all the time. I really like cold and raw foods. I was a raw vegan for a long time, being just feeling cold in my body, being underweight for a long time. So I was like not really sure what suggestions to follow because Kapha and Vata are probably like the 2 most polar opposite things. Kaphas are supposed to exercise a lot and have a lot of stimulating foods, and basically they need to like lose weight, and then Vatas basically need to gain weight and they need to have like warming foods and oils and grounding foods. So I was like, I don't know which one to follow. I'm kind of neither. I'm both. So I did a lot of research about this subject. So all of us can relate to all 3 doshas. We are all a combination of all 3, however in varying amounts. So the combination that you were born with is called your Prakriti. So your Prakriti is essentially your DNA. It is the deck of cards that you were handed with when you were born. So let's say you were born with blonde hair, blue eyes, a calm personality, and tendency to get red in the face. That's all in your DNA. And then you change that over time. So let's say you were born and you were kind of overweight. Your whole life you were overweight, and then you went through a phase of your life that you decided to lose weight. You started exercising all the time, eating super clean, and your body changed. But now you relate to different things of a different dosha. That's what happened to me. I started exercising that when I was like 12 years old, practicing lots of yoga and dancing, so my body changed. So then suddenly I related to Vata even though I was Kapha before. So the doshic constitution that you have today is called your vikriti. So your vikriti is determined by your diet, your lifestyle, exercise levels, stress levels, the season that it is, your environment. All of these things will affect your vikriti. So if you live somewhere that is colder, you're going to feel more Vata or Kapha because those are the colder doshas. If you live somewhere warmer, you will naturally feel more Pitta. So that also changes with the seasons. During the hotter months, you will naturally feel more Pitta. The colder months, you'll feel more Vata or Kapha. So that is always affecting our doshic constitution as well. So our Prakriti, what we were born with, our DNA, and then our Vikriti, the doshic constitution that we have today. So what to do when there's kind of 2 and we're in between. So the first thing that I go with is first listen to your body. What is your body saying? That's going to be the diet that you will follow. So on my dosha quiz on eatfeelfresh.com, I have the link below, I have separated the results between the mind and the body. And the reason I did that was because I felt like a lot of dosha quizzes, they just sort of like lumped you in one category. So, I was getting Vata all the time. I don't look like a Vata person. I'm not like super gaunt in the face and like a really like tall, lean person. That's just not me. But I was still relating to a lot of things. So I separated the results of the mind and the body so you can see what's going on in your body and what's going on in your mind. I've also broken it down by percentages. So it gives you a really good understanding of what is going on right now with you. It's going to be assessing your vikriti because it can only assess the dosha constitution that you have today. If you took it according to what you were like as a child, then it will be assessing your prakriti. So listen to your body first for food. So in Ayurveda, there are kind of 4 types of digestions, and those digestions are basically related to what's going on internally. So let's say you have a vata digestion. You get bloated, you get constipated, you get gassy, all vata related things. Don't worry about all of the other vata things, just the digestive part. Then I would say follow a vata pacifying diet, because that is the most pressing issue. Your digestion is the number one most important thing. If you are not digesting food correctly, nothing else will work. So heal your digestion first. If you are bloated, gassy, constipated, follow a vata pacifying diet. Pacifying means to reduce. So follow the warm cooked vegetables, the root vegetables, stews, curries. Stay away from cold, raw foods, crackers, salads, smoothies, that sort of thing. And we'll get more into the dual doshas as well, but that's going to be the first thing you should listen to. Let's say your digestive system is pitta imbalanced. So you have a lot of acidity. When you eat food, you feel heartburn. You might feel like this kind of like burping, convulsing feeling. I've never had that before, so I can't experience it. I see my boyfriend happens to him a lot. Then follow a pitta pacifying diet. So acidity, heartburn, ulcers. Ulcers are little holes in your stomach that are created from too much acidity. Follow a pitta pacifying diet. Cooling foods. More, in my opinion, raw foods, not traditional Ayurvedic. I believe raw foods are safe to eat if you live in a place that raw foods don't have harmful bacteria. In India, no one can eat raw foods. It's unheard of to eat salads in India. They used to call me the cow because I was eating salads all the time. But if you live in a place like the United States, it is fine to eat raw foods. In fact, it's super beneficial because it's cooling, it has living enzymes, it's higher in vitamin C and lots of other trace minerals in it. So I say go for raw foods. Not 100%, but include raw foods in your diet, especially if you're a pitta, you have a strong digestive fire that can break down the fibrous cell walls, which are the reasons why vatas and kaphas have a hard time breaking down the food. It's not the food that's the problem, it's their digestive systems that are the problem. That's the thing that people don't realize. They're saying raw foods are bad, don't eat raw foods. No, get your digestive system to start working so you can eat a salad and not feel like shit. I'll talk more about that in a later video. So pitta, cooling foods, alkalizing foods, mint tea, coconut oil, coconut meat, all sorts of just cooling, like think summer foods. Think of what do you want to eat on a hot summer's day. Those are the foods that pittas should eat if you're acidic. Then kapha food. So if you have a kapha digestive system, you have a slow, sluggish digestive fire. You might eat and feel just like exhausted afterwards. You gain weight super easily. You know, you feel like you can still feel what's in your stomach from what you ate the night before. So that's a kapha digestive system. So if you're feeling those symptoms, then follow a kapha pacifying diet. What is that? Light, but stimulating. So kaphas are not recommended to eat raw foods because kapha is a cold energy. So when you eat just raw foods, their digestive fires are too cool to break down those raw foods. So it's just going to make them feel more stuck. But at the same time, you don't want oily, fried foods the same way vatas need them because it's just going to make you put on weight. So kaphas are really good with steamed vegetables, especially cruciferous vegetables, Brussels sprouts, kale, steamed kale. You can do a kale salad, but just make sure it's been broken down, like put some lemon or coconut vinegar, apple cider vinegar to break down the fiber. Don't just like eat kale straight out of the whatever, because that's going to be too hard for your body to break down. So steamed vegetables and stimulating. Stimulating means spices. So spices actually heat up your digestive fire. They make things start moving. That's why a lot of people in the morning, they have like hot lemon water with cayenne pepper and ginger. That is super good for kapha. So if you feel like your digestive fire is low and you need to crank it up again, cayenne pepper, ginger, cumin, cardamom. Spices does not mean spicy. That's something that a lot of people would say, I don't like spicy foods. Spices don't have to be spicy. Cardamom, cinnamon, these are all spices. Turmeric, they're all spices. They don't have a spicy taste. So spices are medicine. In Ayurveda is called a kitchen science because the medicine is the food that you were given every single day. And what could be more powerful than that? And now research has been done showing that a lot of these herbs and spices like turmeric are actually more beneficial when paired with other ingredients such as black pepper and certain oils and things like that. So let food be your medicine, especially for kaphas. Spice everything up and steam it so it's easy to digest. So follow your digestive system first. So vata, bloated, gassy, go for the vata pacifying diet. Pitta, acidic, sharp, go for the pitta pacifying diet. Kapha, heavy, bloated, tired, go for the kapha. Now let's say you're kind of in between two. You're like, sometimes I feel acidic, but other times I feel bloated, or in between. So then look at the commonalities between the two doshas. So I kind of broke them down, and I have this in my book, and I'm going to write a blog post about this on eatfeelfresh.com as well. Actually, I have a blog post about it on Eat Feel Fresh right now. If you go on what should I eat if I'm a cross between two doshas, I break it down. But look at what element you are lacking in. So vatas and pittas, these two doshas, so vata is air and ether, pitta is fire and water. So what is it lacking in? What's the one element that's missing? Earth. There's no earth in either of those doshas. So if you're a vata pitta, you need more earth foods in your diet. Root vegetables, sweet potatoes, yams, parsnip, ginger, anything that comes from the earth is what you need. And something that's more cooked and satiating. And you want to avoid the things that will disturb your vata and disturb your pitta. So you want to avoid still too many raw vegetables and things like that. Even though you have some pitta and you can break it down, you still want to be careful to not disrupt your vata. And then for pitta, you don't want to be eating too many spicy foods and things like that, because that's going to disrupt your pitta and make your fire burn too high. So look at the element you are lacking in, which is earth. If you are pitta and kapha, pitta is fire and water, and kapha is earth and water. So you got a lot of water, but what are you lacking in? You don't have any vata, so you don't have the air and the ether energies. So you need to include more vata foods in your diet, more leafy vegetables, sprouts, things that are moving, things that make you feel like light and refreshed. Think of spring foods. So maybe some berries in the afternoon, some blackberries, and some just like a leafy green. It can be a salad if you're okay with that, if your pitta is strong enough, but if you feel like you're a little bit more in the kapha and it's going to make you feel bloated and sick, then steam them. That's totally fine too. But more light and airy foods. And then stay away from, again, the too spicy of foods as well as too pungent of foods. So too many garlic and onions can also disrupt pitta. And then with kapha foods, dairy and sweets can disrupt pitta. Can disrupt kapha. So even though pitta might be able to eat sweet foods and get away with it, that kapha in you is going to bring you down. So look at the dosha that you are lacking in, which is vata. And let's say you are a vata kapha, which is like me, which you're like, what do I do? So vata is air and ether, and then kapha is earth and water. So what are you lacking in? Fire. So you need to crank up that fire. So both vata and kaphas are really cold, so definitely stay away from too many raw foods and have foods that will heat you up from within. So spices, pungent foods like onions and garlic would be really good for you. Even things like, that pitta should avoid, like adding cayenne pepper to things and ginger and just like making things like warm you up. When you eat spicy foods, you literally feel hot. That's what you need if you're a vata and kapha. But make sure your food is cooked. It can be roasted as well, as long as it's not too oily. So like a vegetable curry or a stir fry or something like that could be really good. And if you do want to include raw foods, make sure you pair them off with something that's warming. Like if you do a smoothie, make sure you add in some ginger in there, some cinnamon in there, and don't add any ice, because that's going to really inhibit your digestive fire. So basically, the cusp of two doshas, first look at your digestive system. If it's severely imbalanced in one of the doshas, follow the guidelines from that. Secondly, if you're halfway in between, look at the element that you are missing in. No one is 100% all 5 elements. No one is 100% tridoshic. It's very, very rare. A lot of people are like, I relate to all 3. I must be the one tridoshic person. Probably not, because we're all just born with certain characteristics. So look at the element you are lacking in. So maybe you feel balanced, but it's going to change with the seasons. Your life is constantly knocking us off balance. So we constantly want to be changing it, looking into our bodies, seeing what's up. There are so many ways you can also assess, which I can get more into. It goes as in depth as like looking at where the white stuff is on your tongue can tell you what doshas that you are imbalanced in. But the easiest things and the most prevalent things to look at is your digestive system, because that's where really imbalances first show up. So look at your digestive system, find the element you are lacking in, and heal your doshas in that way. So I mentioned this in the last video, but I'm starting a podcast. It is called the Highest Self Podcast. So I'm going to be discussing more about Ayurveda, but also about spirituality and what is the whole purpose of this health and having a clean digestive and all of that. Like, then what? Do you win a prize? No, you become your highest version of yourself and able to share those gifts with the world. And that's really what it's all about. So the podcast is going to be discussing all about these topics. It's going to be available on iTunes hopefully this week. So check it out here. I will definitely put the link when it's out below, and be sure you go on my website. I have tons of Ayurvedic articles, recipes. If you're on Instagram, I'm at Eat Feel Fresh. I'm uploading all day. My stories are like constant. If you want to know what I'm eating on a day-to-day basis, go on my Instagram, and I'm so excited to share this new podcast with you guys soon. So best of luck, and let me know if you have any questions. Namaste.